time.
It's time for portfolio review. I'm a character designer, you want to be a character designer, you send me your character design portfolios, we take a look through it together, me in a video sending to you later, I take a look through it, you're watching to me right now on the screen, and then I'm telling you what I think would be a little bit better, and then you improve your portfolio, you become a character designer, we are character designers. It's kind of the goal of this video. But Jackie, how are you qualified to tell me what to do with my portfolio? Well, not only am I a character designer, I've been a character designer for Disney, for Warner Brothers, for Netflix, for DreamWorks TV, for Nickelodeon, amongst a few others, and I can help you. So let's go. Let's get started. All right, let's start with Kevin's portfolio. Kevin's been a long-time patron of mine, and I always see him commenting on my Instagram. Thank you, Kevin. I see you, you are seen. I'm a character designer and illustrator. I illustrate a few children's books. You will see that I already followed a lot of your advice. But first, let me tell you about today's sponsor. For the past 7 years or so, I've been using Squarespace to host my portfolio website. I love it because I don't need to know any coding at all. I can go and I can customize it just the way I want, and then I could look through hundreds of different templates that Squarespace has, and you know I love Brian. I also host my online store through Squarespace, where I can customize it, have a very clean look, make it look very professional, which is very important for the customer experience, for the customer's trust to your website. And best of all, I get to let my customers choose many forms of payments from Stripe, PayPal, or Square. So go ahead and check out Squarespace today, and you can use my code JackieDrushko for an additional 10% off your first website or domain. Ooh, I love this pencil cursor. I think that's very nice. A lot of personality. I think this is wonderful. Then we have your resume. Ooh, it looks just like mine. I love that. And then we have your email, which I love to see. Ooh, freaking hate that. You know, that's up to you. I hate this app, I'm never gonna use this app. I love that you have a splash page that's like a beautiful illustration, and then it shows that you're an illustrator, character designer, your name, your email. And I also love a good reimagined story. I love to see that. So it's Wizard of Oz. I like that in your lion, we have his tail coming in because he's scared. But what else shows that he's cowardly? Like, what if in his pose, like, we see him hunched over? What if his hair like went over his eyebrows in a way that makes him look a little bit like anxious? You know, instead of his hands like that, what if they were turned inward? You know, like when you're an anxious little nervous person. Oh, I'm so nervous, I'm a nervous little lion. How can you break up the symmetry of his pose and really showcase his personality through just this one pose alone? Because you don't have him in any other drawing. So you want this to be his big moment. Like when I'm seeing him right now, I really want him to be this huge like man, and you very purposely made him kind of short. So how can you like make him look short and stocky but still push his pose? How can you showcase his personality? I'm thinking right now, what does Tin Man look like? I don't quite remember what his personality is. Like maybe if he's short and stocky, maybe he's so much wider and his hips are small, and then his legs, you really push out that silhouette like even more. Right now I'm getting the impression, well, his hands are close together, so maybe he's nervous, you know, they're this ragtag group of characters pushing the humor. Like what if his axe was like super small and he's like super big? And that's like the joke, where that'd be so funny, I think. With Scarecrow, like when I squint and I look at this character, I see a lot of even proportions, right? With the hat going up there. Like this is the head, this is the top of the hat, this is the body, this is where the legs are, this is where the bottom of the legs are. Like the whole thing when I see Scarecrow is that, you know, he's so wibbly wobbly, his body can barely do what he wants it to do. But even by just bringing his hips up a little bit right here, like I think that this character could have a much interesting like proportion and scale. I think Dorothy looks great. I'm really just focusing on these characters that can be pushed a lot. Like if she's regular and she's normal, she's a normal human, these three guys, well, everybody from Oz basically, should be so out there and crazy compared to her, right? So I'd either make this bit really small so then you can make the dress nice and big. You know, I've since changed my mind about whether to have turnarounds or not in your portfolio, and now I'm a big proponent. You should definitely have a turnaround. It's just a little bit small. That's what I think. I think it should be bigger. Like maybe it's almost the full page and then you have a pose here and then some expressions down here. I'm kind of expecting for her chest to really come out and for her dress to like be behind her like that. So I would kind of push her chest out differently. And then I'm wondering, well, how can we focus on a busy side and a clean side? So because her hair is cutting into the silhouette, I'm saying, okay, well, this is our clean side. This is the side that is not very busy. And then our other side is the side that has all of the bumps and stuff like that, all the complicated turns. And then this side, the left side, is the side that has a very streamlined side. Then we kind of have this nice line of action going this way, tilting back that way, her hair is tilting that back that way. You know, maybe the front here, like focusing on, like if the front is more of a straight line, the back is more of this tilted line behind her. So I think these pages are really great. Maybe one more thing I'd like to see is an expression page. And you know, what I'm thinking right off the bat, I think his expression page would be really fun. Imagine when he's shocked, his hat comes off and his jaw literally, like how can you play with it? Like where his jaw literally unhinges from him because he's so shocked. Maybe the springs from his eyes come out. Like how can you really play with like the funness and the kookiness of these characters? I think that would be really cool because you have a really realistic poses right here of this real girl, this real character doing more realism. And then you have, just to contrast that, like what the world of Oz is. It's evil pop star lineup, okay? And then we have some really cool exploration of this character. And I'd also love to see some hands coming in. I see that you have hands here and it just makes the expression feel so much more alive. But like, how would hands really showcase what we're seeing here? Like here, he's like, ugh, that's so gross. But imagine he had a hand right here and he was like, ugh, like that's gross. Like that would kind of push it a little bit more, I think. Before I saw the word evil, I wouldn't have thought that these were evil pop stars. You know, I see that they're all singers, but are they all evil? Is it just this character that's evil? Like, show me the story behind this a little bit more. But who are these characters in relation to that character? Are they also evil? Are they like maybe good? And I would also kind of push their type of music a little bit more. Like this one I could tell like this is like a Gaga pop star. This is a country pop star. This is a rap star. It's a rock star, like rock and roll. But I'm kind of wondering, I'd like to see it pushed a little bit more. Like what if his mullet was really coming out? What if his hair was big? Is he a little bit emo? Would it cover his one eye completely and then his other eye is barely out? Is there something about him wearing skinny jeans that is actually part of his personality, that he's like, I don't know, like a little out of touch? Or maybe he's like an old rock star that is trying to be relatable to kids. Like, I don't know, like, right? Like, make me super understand who this character is. And then we have Beyond the Seven Seas. I think this is such a good lineup. I would actually say this is like one of your strongest projects. I would have this maybe at the top, dare I say. I think this is really great. This design is so excellent. We see all these different hierarchies. His head is really big, his hat is smaller. That is so excellent. There's so much storytelling here. There's a key in his pocket. It makes me want to know more about the story, right? And then we have this character, which to me, I'm looking like, ooh, maybe this is the main character because he's very bright, a naive color perhaps, and maybe he's mischievous. We see in his like expression here. He's got a little guy on top of his head. And then I see that she's this evil crustacean, which I think is so cool because every time we see these villains, they have like an Ursula look, but she has such a unique look. I really like that. And then her hands are these like goopy, ooh, ah! I love that. This is excellent. And I like that, you know, the top of her thigh is like long and then the rest cuts down. Like it's different proportions, which is what I'm saying. There's just one thing I really want to do. These shoulder pads, wouldn't it be so cool if these sea urchins were these huge, like coming out of her silhouette like that, and then her shoulders of her dress was just like big. I think that would give her so much power. I think that could make her look so much scarier and grander, and to make her like material reveal looks so much like thicker and scarier. And then with that, because, you know, if her bits and bobs are all pointy, I would make her hair kind of start higher. So I'd have it tuck in the back of her neck. Then I would go and make her front that busy side, and then the back would like tuck in, follow her neck like that. And it would face forward, more like a pompadour. Because then these like sea urchin spikes would kind of have more room to act. That'd be just like these little tiny little tweaks, I think would make these designs like a little bit stronger. Like I'm not changing the entire silhouette. I'm not like telling you to change all the proportions, because I know I would never. If someone told me to change it at this point, I'd be like, no, be gone. I like that he's illustrated in a really interesting way with all of his colors. You could really see that his skin is almost translucent. I would love to see, like, imagine this highlight right here is white, a little bit of white bits to show how shiny he is. If he's doing this, like, imagine he's pulling it so much wider. What would it look like if his tongue sticks out and his teeth are like this, and his ears are going big and stuff, and right, like, really pulling it, really push these expressions to make them more fun. With this one, like his eyes, he's facing, maybe he's tilted up a little bit more. That means his ears would come down a little bit. Maybe his hands involved, he's like, right? I would suggest looking at Luca. Luca has such a great art book on these types of characters, like these rounded cheeks, or even Ruby Gilman, Teenage Kraken has really good shapes like this. It's a really good way to go in and see how you can push these characters, and like so much, like I can tell as the audience exactly what he's doing, because he's angry right here. Maybe his fist is in here and he's like, why, yada. And having maybe his eyes a little bit more focused on what he's looking at, having a little bit of asymmetrical, I think that would be like a fun experiment to kind of figure out this character a little bit more. So I think you could push him. The rendering on this is so bright and happy. It's so cute. I love that. And then you have your poses here. Like once again, I think you can kind of push these even more. I love having asymmetry in my expressions. Just like pushing and pulling things a little bit, making them look a little more nuanced and human. Even something like this as he's falling. What if you kind of pushed that perspective and had one foot out here? Maybe his back foot is even like way back there, where we see his tail coming out a little bit more. Maybe there's a more interesting shape of his cloth coming down. How do you break up that silhouette of his hat without breaking the actual design? Like maybe it's flopping backwards, and then now his hand has space to act out of that silhouette. You have everything that you need. I think one thing you're missing maybe is more characters interacting. I would go up and I would maybe in your Wizard of Oz, since I feel like this is your big hitter, being a little more intentional with the projects that you have, pushing things. And then other than that, I feel like you actually have enough in your portfolio. You don't have too many pages, you don't have too few projects. Great job. Thank you very much for submitting this. All right, next portfolio we have is Nkechi. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I'm a 3D games and film student. I took your DOMESTIKA course, found it incredibly helpful. Pretty cool. I feel like my work lacks character expressions. My goal is to work as a character designer, concept artist, and illustrator. You have some info. Ooh, I don't see your email. I see it here, but there's no like copy and paste button out here. So I really don't piss me off. I really need your email right here. Just at the bottom, so big where everyone can see it. And then, you know, that's really all you need. And then you have some other links about, ooh, I see you have the email button here, but don't piss me off. I hate that button. I know it's gonna open mail. You have really cool work. I see you have a lot of like costume design. And I see you don't have like many poses or expressions, right? Before I actually continue, let me tell you, I want every single one of your pages to have your name and your email down here. It's so easy. The amount of times that my work has ended up on Pinterest and there's no credit to it is insufferable. It's really important to have your name and email showcased on everything. Some really cool shapes, like with this face design, like the graphicness of this scarf with the graphicness of these pants. It's really fun and it's really enticing. Like these characters are like really exciting. I'm just trying to find that story within it. This character too, like, what's their story? How are they related to each other? It kind of feels like they're all from different stories just put onto one page. Okay, now this looks like it's one cohesive story. I would really have a logo of like, I don't know, Office Devil, and then right here it'd say Office Devil. So then we know that these two pages are related to each other. I want your characters to be so clear from just looking at these designs that you don't have to tell me which one is security, which one is IT, which one's janitor, right? For security, for example, like we have the three-headed hound or whatever, and I see that and I think that's really good. I almost lost that this is a gun. Is that a gun? I honestly can't even tell. If it is, like, imagine his pose was different. Imagine he was holding, I don't know, a taser or whatever, like this. He was dog number 1, dog number 2 is doing something else, dog number 3 is there. Imagine a silhouette like this. I feel like that would showcase a lot more of not only his personality, but of his prop. You know, a change in pose and silhouette. And I see that he has like a rip in his shoulder and a rip in his pants. Like, kind of show that even more. If he's got a rip in his shoulder because he's so aggressive and he's fighting all the time, make his clothes like so much more tattered, right? And less like H&M rips and more like it looks like he got into brawls and fights and there's scars on him. And for this character, for IT, I think it's really funny. She's like a ghost. She's like dead because IT is like such an awful job. Like, imagine her eyes were so much more bags underneath. Her shoulders really showcased that in her pose. It was so obvious that there's no life. Like, maybe her wings are dragging on the floor, right? Like, show it in her personality and her hunch, in her, make her character really shine. For assistant, maybe you don't have to lean into that stereotype as much because I see that it's more of a main character, but she looks way too badass. I feel like this would have been the CEO rather than this character. Like, this character looks like CEO. She's wearing a freaking gold tie thing, right? Like, her suit looks snazzy, right? She looks rich. She's not making an assistant salary. So kind of show it in her outfit. Maybe like it's a less boss bitch. Maybe it's a little bit more assistant. I'm kind of trying to see the CEO. And like with this bit and this bit, and there's wings and there's forearms, there's just like a lot going on that I'd like for you to really focus on one of these bits. I think the forearms would really help. Like, she's got an agenda in one hand, she's got her business briefcase in the other, she's got a phone, she's like working all the time, she's like signing papers that someone else is giving her, right? Or like if she's CEO, she shouldn't be even holding her own business suitcase. She's doing too many tasks. Maybe the assistant has like all of these briefcases in her and all the papers are falling out. Like, she's the one who should be swamped. The CEO should not be swamped. That's why I feel like the roles are mixed, right? So I'd go back in and kind of consider a little stronger of these two characters, of their personalities. I'd make a few more poses here. I'd add 1, I'd add 2, and then you'd have like a page of her poses. I think you could push them a little bit more to showcase these like funny moments. Like, it feels like it's a really funny like show, like style, and I think that you could push these poses a little bit more. I think it'd be really cute. And I'd like to see more poses, and then even I'd like to see some expressions, like show those moments. They'd be so much fun, I think. With these characters, I see that it's really focused in on costume design, which I think is great. These two poses, you know what I'm about to say, I think are a little bit too similar, as in it's the same pose. It's just a little bit rendered differently. Maybe it's like the sketch phase of it. So what I'd like to see instead is a different pose. I'm gonna be telling you to do a lot of poses because you don't have enough poses. So I'd see a different hero pose in this that would really showcase her personality. Maybe this pose on that side is her picking up a dinosaur egg. She's got a little cape, like, instead of this pose, so then you have more. I also am a big fan of, if you have concept art, of different poses to having like actually different poses, and then you could change the costume in that way, because there's two birds, one stone. Not only are you changing the costumes and showcasing that you could do costumes, but you're also showing that you can do different poses. And then in that same way, you would show different hairs coming out of that character, right? So I would definitely not have this in here, or at least not show hair that way. I would show the hair as you're showing those different silhouettes. Although the hair here is a lot different, you know what I would do? I would say that these are all the same characters, and on different episodes, different days, she has different hair designs. So I'd go and I'd keep these hair designs, but I would make them different expressions. So in this expression, it's her hair like this, and another expression. Obviously, these are just, because then you get two birds, one stone. You don't have to show the same pose over and over. And then you get a lot more expressions in there. Like, this is really interesting. This looks like these two characters, like a Frankenstein character and a werewolf character. I would love to see a lineup with your Frankenstein character, your werewolf character, and then two other characters. Like maybe this is a school. Maybe it's like a different version of like a Monster High, where like these are all the mean girls of the school. Like, what would that look like? And then have this page with some concept designs of what she looked like, a few expressions. So your first page is different expressions, your second page is different poses, and then maybe your last page is a bunch of concept art from this, like all these different variations. Doesn't have to be colored, you know, keep it black and white, keep it grayscale, however you'd like to do it. Then you have one, two, three, 4 pages with this project. Like, I know I said maybe there are 4 mean girls of different variations, but what if you had a big werewolf man, right? You want to showcase that you could do different types of body types, different types of characters that really like would make you more employable, that makes it seem like you could do everything, right? And that's what we want to see. And then I think that, honestly, I feel like these characters, they don't quite give us anything that the previous designs do. At the end of the day, it's this pose like 8 times that we see, you know, which I think is not good use of your space in your portfolio. At the end of the day, a lot of this is different color schemes. So instead, I would, you know, different poses with different costumes and different colors, like combining as much as possible into one. I think this is also really cool. Like, how could you expand on this story? Like, this is really neat. I haven't seen any animal designs like this with 4 legs in your previous designs. What if you did poses for these characters? What if you did more characters, more drawings of these characters interacting? And, you know, just a sketch, it doesn't have to be crazy. I feel like this one and these ones are the only like helpful ones, but even at the end of the day, they're the same pose. So I would just do a sketch over it, and I would make sure the shoulders and the hair really showcase this personality. You know, maybe it's tilted down, you know, you want to see different angles of this and how the hair overlaps it. How's that gonna look? Maybe they're happy and they're facing up, right? How would that look like? How would the hair and the ears move back? Maybe they're waving at somebody up here, right? Like, how would their hands be involved? Try to make like their whole bodies be a part of these poses. Because right now you have a lot of designs, and a lot of them, like a lot of the poses are just the same copy and paste drawings over and over in different types of costuming. So try to, you know, hit as many birds as many stones as possible. And I'd really like to see this story expanded. Like, if you kind of showcase to the audience, maybe in the second page of these characters, how they relate to each other. Maybe you have a splash page with like these characters in the same room. Maybe they're like a breakfast club situation, that they're all students in school and they're stuck in the same class and they all hate each other, and it's an illustration with the 4 of them at a table. And this character is at the front being sad she got detention. Maybe this, or reading a book or whatever, because I guess this character is the sad character. Maybe this character is like back here, like throwing paper at the character in front, right? Having an illustration, it'd be so much fun to have an illustration as a splash page. I'm such a proponent for that. And then we could tell the story more. Like, being a character designer is all about storytelling. So I want every piece, every project in your portfolio to tell a story, so then I could relate to it. I can connect with these characters, because you want your audience to connect with characters. I think that would be excellent. But overall, great work. I just think being a little more intentional with your projects and showcasing different strengths more would really help this portfolio get to the next level. That is the 2 portfolios that we have for today. If you want to get your portfolio reviewed, you can join my Patreon. I hope you learned something from these beautiful portfolios. You could check them in the links below, I have them. And I am in general so happy that when people go into character design, it's so much fun. I love seeing different takes on different popular characters, either you're redesigning, reimagining, or even your unique stories. I think that's so fun and I love to see it. So keep sending me your portfolios to review. Yeah, I hope you can take what you learned from me critiquing these portfolios and apply it to your own portfolios. And if you're having trouble with your character design portfolio, and you really need a mentor to help you create that project from start to finish, why not join my new character design portfolio sprint mentorship that I have open right now? Mentorship starts mid-October and it's 10 weeks long. We will be focusing on creating a full portfolio from beginning to end. So you're gonna come in with your story in your mind, but that's all you need to really have. We're gonna create concepts of your characters, a bunch of rough designs. Then we're gonna have a lineup for your character. You're gonna make some turnarounds, expressions, posing, characters interacting. You're gonna also create a splash page, which is hard but very fun, and I'll be there for you. This is a really great mentorship if you need that extra push, if you need guidance throughout the creation of your mentorship. If you need feedback, I'll be giving feedback every single week. You'll also be networking with not only me, but your other classmates, because the industry is small. So you could apply to my website. I'll link it below. I'm very excited to mentor a handful of students. I think that's gonna be really awesome, and yes, you could check that in the link below, and then I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.